Hello everybody, and you're very welcome to part 5 of the Next Step Woodcraft Workshop online series. And this week I was going to be showing you the complicated star which we made, which I started last week, and I didn't finish it all off. I didn't cut it out because I thought it was going to be a bit tedious to show you that part, but it's complete now. Next thing I was going to do was to show you making something with these wonderful coloured matchsticks which Charlotte got for me. You know, I'd spent a while tediously colouring matchsticks, plain matchsticks in a cup of paint, but Charlotte went and found these fantastic brightly coloured ones, so we're going to make a small project using that. And then finally we'll maybe move on to something using some lollipop sticks. So that's the procedure for today. So we'll see as we go. So here's last week's project all cut out. All the excess cardboard was cut away from the edge, so it gives that perfect star shape. And I'm just going to bring this up a little closer to the camera so that you can see all the little incidental designs that are made. All these small black triangles all the way along here where the matchstick joins that cross piece. All these little bits of design were all kind of unintentional, but they've been made just the way we've laid everything out. And of course the piece de resistance, the way the ends of the matchstick are charred, and the kind of the charring of the wood kind of fades down a bit, you know. Now, not to worry that some of the matchsticks are not quite meeting the edge of the cardboard, because when we've cut out the cardboard it gives a fine effect. So yeah, what it makes me think, I've put a little ring on the back so that it could be hung up. You know, it could be hung up on a wall, you know, just like that. What it makes me think of is these clocks that were very stylish at one time, you know, clock in the middle of the sort of starbursty type thing. So somebody might think of putting a kind of clock in the middle of that. But anyway, that's that. The other thing I was thinking about was the origin of this kind of artwork, using matchsticks, using material that was otherwise kind of thrown away. You would have found prisoners in prison using matchsticks. You know, they'd been smoking, and they'd keep the matchsticks and do something with them, because they, of course, had plenty of time. A bit like us these days, we have plenty of time, and I hope that time's not hanging too heavy on your hands. But anyway, this kind of art originated in prisons, and I'd said sailors maybe on long voyages would have been making work out of matchsticks as well. But yeah, so there we go. So let's move on to our next project using the coloured matchsticks. So this is the bag of coloured matchsticks which Charlotte purchased for us from Eurostar, and the cost of it was £2.95, and it gives us 2,000 wonderful brightly coloured matchsticks. So there's plenty we can do with that. Because the matchsticks you get are kind of rainbow coloured, I thought this might be a thing that we could try to do now. It's very simple. This is an experiment gone wrong, if you like. It was meant to be a kind of a spiral, you know, where each square of wood kind of rotated round. It's not quite getting there, so I thought we'll try something, just a straightforward stack, and you know, it could be something that you could put a pen, it'd be an interesting object you could put a couple of pencils in or something. But anyway, we'll work away at that. As you can see, I've got the coloured matchsticks laid out here. There's actually 6 different colours, and that gives quite a nice rainbow spread. I've got a piece of card here that we're going to work on. It's that kind of stiff card that we used for the stars matchstick star last week. So here it is, and I've marked it out, and we know now where the matchsticks are going to go. I'm going to use this glue now. This glue it was a big container of woodworking glue, but there's only a small drop left at the bottom, and I've cut the bottle open because I couldn't get to it otherwise. This glue is very good. It's a bit like the PVA that we're using before, but I've actually run out of that, and I find this woodworking glue is even better. If you can get hold of some deals, that would be the best thing to use. Now let's start away. I'm going to put some glue onto the board first. Now, because the glue, I'm going to put on two sides there, because the glue is, you can see through the glue. So I was going to say it's transparent, and it's transparent enough. You can see where we can go. Now we put two pieces there, and then I'm going to turn it round, and I'm using these kind of inner lines, not the outer lines. I'm putting a dot of glue on either side. Now it does look terribly messy, but because this glue dries clear, it will be absolutely fine. I was going to say perfect, it'll be fine. And there we go. And you need quite a bit of glue just to get the matchstick to stay in place, because it will dry, and it'll dry very, very strong. Now, I could have had these matchsticks further out to the side, but what I'm hoping for is there to be a nice kind of corner there that will be very apparent, a nice sort of sculptural corner. If I put it out to the edge, it'll be more like an enclosed box, but this will be something a bit more interesting. Now, to make sure we can see the kind of rainbow colours, I'm going to do 4 courses. If anybody's done any bricklaying, they'll know what I mean by courses. 4 layers of matchsticks, so that we can really see the colour. And then we'll change on to the next colour, which is, of course, orange. Rainbow colours are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and there's a 7th colour, which is violet. We don't have any violet matchsticks, so we'll just make do with what we've got. So that's me on course 2 now. We're on to course 3. And I feel I'm going to speed up the next bits, because I think you've got the gist of it. Now this is for making this particular thing. There's all manner of things you could make using these coloured matchsticks. So let's speed up a bit. So that's me done 4 courses of the red. Just turning it around a bit so you can see. Now, if you find that some of them are a bit out of alignment, you can use a matchstick there and just push them around just to get them a bit more accurate. But I would say, and maybe this is a bit of an excuse, it is a piece of craft or art, as it were. So nothing is going to be perfect. Anyway, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But you'd want it to be as straight as you want it to be. Of course, you can make it all go in instead of going up vertically. That was what I was trying to get at with my demonstration model. You know, how you could twist it round as it went. But anyway, until the glue dries, you can move it about a fair bit and get it just as you want it. I am going to try and make it fairly square. See if I can do something like that. Anyway, I'm going to now just work on the next colours and come back to you. So I've done the orange, so we've got the red and orange there now. And I'm now going to move on to the yellow. And just as I was doing it, a couple of thoughts came into my mind. And as you do more, you'll kind of get into the way of doing it. Now, I turn the piece round. I'm coming in at an angle on this cross piece and putting on the glue. So that's one thing. and I'm using my fingers just to hold it down because the glue being so thick can sometimes lift up the matchstick until it's more set. So there we go, there's the glue down, and then we put on our cross pieces, always alternating. Now I'm going to turn it so as I'm coming in across the, oops, see how easy it is to move it. But anyway, I can move that back in a second. And I'll just use this matchstick and just push that piece back over. And many of you will have more nimble fingers than me, of course. Turning it round again. But you'll find your own way of doing it. You'll find the way that suits. I'm holding it down with my finger. Putting on a blob of glue so that the matchstick actually sinks into the glue. Now when this is dry, it's incredibly strong. Now again, I'll come back to you. If I have any other thoughts, I'll stop and tell you, but I'll build away. As I'm working away here, it does give you plenty of time to think about things. What I was going to say was that this glue is the same glue that we use on a Friday at the Woodcraft, and we'd use it in combination maybe with a screw or a panel pin or something, but it is incredibly strong. These matchsticks are very, very light, and of course they will stick very, very well and strongly, but until they stick, they give a chance to move about, you know. And because the matchsticks are so light, they can easily just kind of pull apart. But the ones at the bottom, these red ones at the bottom are pretty rigid now. As we go on higher up, they're more delicate. So yeah, I always find it helps to put my finger on it just to hold. The other thought was, and when I was doing that experimental piece yesterday, you count the number of courses, as it were, as you're going, because it's quite easy to miss one out because you have to look from both sides. I mean, there's two blue here. If I can turn it, you might see better. There's two blue there, but around this side there's only one at the moment. So I'm going for 4 of each one, just to give plenty colour. And the other thought is that this is very much a rainbow, and the rainbow is the sign of hope, amongst other things. And in these days, I hope we can have hope that everything will be all right. That's the sermon over for today. And I'll just keep going and come back to you when we're almost finished. So here we are, finished up to this point, and I'm just going to move the camera around so you can see how it looks. Turn the piece. So all of that unsightly white glue there will disappear, as you can see if you remember right at the very bottom. I'd had a lot of thick glue, well that's all kind of gone clear and disappeared. So that's really it. What I wanted to do now, I'm going to let it dry, is to put some matchsticks right round the base here and give it a nice finish off, because that's only a scrap piece of card. Remember I was saying last week about the scrap card that people have, the materials that you find round about the house. So we'll let that dry. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I'll show you, just a wee teaser for this, is some more of the kind of doll's house furniture type of stuff. Now this is a small stool made of lollipop sticks, and you can buy these lollipop sticks again at deals, a packet for about €2, quite a lot of lollipop sticks. So I'm going to show you how to make this simple stool, and later on, whether we'll get to it this week or not I don't know, would be this dresser. So the dresser as well, made out of lollipop sticks. And again, I think it's something that we could do with a bit of patience. So there we go. But we'll finish the stack off when the glue is dry. For making the small stool, what we'll need are the lollipop sticks, obviously, and scissors. Now we're using the scissors to cut the wood. A Stanley knife, I tried the Stanley knife and it's very, very hard. I must discover what kind of wood the lollipop sticks are made of, because I think it's quite a strong wood. It does splinter, and the Stanley knife was just not cutting it, as they say. So the other thing to have is a sharp pencil to mark lengths. So I'm going to take the sizes off this one. Actually, first of all, what I'll do is I'm going to just snip off that curved end, because we don't need any curved ends on this. So just there we go, and it's cut off. And as much as possible, try to do it at right angles. That will make it easier. And I'm going to put this across the top here and just mark, get the same size, put a pencil mark there, and we'll use that to cut the next piece. And again, just be quite quick and quite sharp with it. And of course, one piece always fires away, but we'll get that in a second. And I've got it here. And so we can measure our next piece from, we'll put that demonstration stool to the side, and then we'll just mark this one off this one, so they are both the same, and then we'll just snip across again. Now we're going to put glue against these two sides here so that they'll stick together. Now I'm going to just use something. If we glue on top of this, then there might be a tendency for the piece to stick to this board. So what I've got is, this is from a packet of cold meat or ham or something, and it's plastic, so it's very good for putting underneath here, and nothing will really stick to this. The glue just won't stick, so that's good. That's what we want. We want the glue to stick to the wood and not the plastic, not the table covering, as it were. So there, I'm putting these two together, and just a little pressure just to hold it and smooth it with my fingers. That's it. Now let that dry, and that'll be really nice and solid. For the legs of the stool, we do the same sort of thing. We might use this end piece here. Yeah, we can get away with that. I'm going to just trim that. So I'll mark it first. That's the way to do it. Same as that one. There. Cut it off. And the piece has gone away a long distance. That's one piece for the leg, and I'm going to cut another one. So just snip that curved end off first, and then we can take our measure. My finger always gets stuck in that handle of the scissors. So take the measurement off that one. Sometimes again they can be slightly warped or bowed, so I'm going to just turn it round. It might be a better ending there, and mark it with a pencil. then we'll snip that off. And then I'm going to put, to make it stand, I'm going to cut, like the demonstration piece, put a little cut there so it'll give us 4 legs rather than 4 kind of blocks to stand on. So I'm just going to snip off a corner of this. Ooh, now it does have a tendency to split a bit, as this is just done, but it's not broken away, so we're grand, and we can put a bit of glue on that. So I'm going to do the same on this other one. I could mark it. And this is the nearest thing we get to the Woodcraft, but instead of using saws, we're using these scissors. There we go. So that is the other side of the leg now, a bit of a splinter there, so we'll take that off. And we're going to now stick these two together. So again, same as before, on the plastic, bit of glue, and push them together. Now I'm going to make the next leg off camera, as it were, so that it's not just a boring film, and we'll come back to that in a second. Now that's my other set of legs made, and good now to let these really dry, so just don't touch them. Well, moving them a bit there. These are quite good. You could almost use these as models for making a full-size piece, and so when the next Woodcraft workshops get back together, this is the sort of thing we could make. You know, lengths of timber that you don't need to cut apart from across the way. So the width here on this demonstration piece is, the width here is the same as the width there on the top, and it's only these side pieces which we're adding on which will hold it together. And so nothing really needs to be cut a long ways, everything is only cut across, and as accurately as possible. At the Woodcraft workshop, of course, we'd use the set squares, but here we're just really judging it with the scissors, because the wood is so light, and you know the glue is going to hold anything that we cut regardless of really the angle. So I'm just going to cut the 2 side pieces that will hold the stool together. I'm going to take the measurement off this, the top. This is the top of the stool here. I'm going to take the measurement off that, and now yeah, I'm going to cut it straight first. But you notice that on our demonstration piece, the sides have a little angle at them, which is quite nice. So I'm just cutting an arbitrary angle, just there we go. And we'll get another piece exactly the same. Cut off that curved end first. Take the measurement of this one. Pencil line. Cut it at that angle. And the other side. And that's our pieces that make up the stool. So we'll come back to that when these pieces are properly dry and assemble it all together. These pieces have sufficiently dried now, they're really strong, so it's now time to put our little miniature doll's house stool together. So what I would do there is, first of all, put on these side pieces. And again, using our plastic. And plenty glue. So that's the 2 side pieces on. And then I'll actually just let this dry a small bit more before we put the legs on, because it is kind of in danger of collapsing. So we just let that dry and we'll put the legs on. Come back to you when we're ready to do that. Now, as you can see, I put a pencil here, and that was just to stop this piece rolling over, you know, as it was setting. For instance, I don't know why this piece needed it, but this piece seemed to stay all right on its own. And now this is ready to slot the legs in. So I'm just going to put some glue onto the bottom here and up the side a small bit, and that leg will just drop in to that space there. Just level it up. And the other one. And just slot in. Because it's the same width, you see, as the top, everything's a really good fit. Now I'm going to pull this out a bit, yeah. And you can adjust it to see, you might want the legs to be slanted a little like that. Or you could have them, I'm going to have mine straight up and down, I prefer that. And I'm going to have it just at the very edge of that angle bit that I cut. So again, we'll let that dry, and I might well prop it up with something while it dries, because until it's dry it has a tendency to move a bit. So I'm just going to level, oops, as you can see, but when it's dry, boy, that is pretty solid. So anyway, back in again, and there we go. So we'll just leave that until it dries, and then we'll set it up ready for one of the little people to sit on. So that's our little stool finished now. It's all very solid and standing upright. Of course, you could sandpaper it down. It'd take a little bit of sanding. It's all very solid, and so there we are. Now, I had shown you the dresser at the start of the film. We'll leave this till next week. There's a bit of work in that, but very doable. So we'll leave that till next week, and we'll come back to the, what do you call it, the tower, the rainbow tower. I just want to show you that completed, and that'll be all for this week. And finally, here's our rainbow stack where we can keep things in. And I've done the base, as you can see there. I've chosen that particular design, but you could do anything at all. I've laid the matchsticks coming out that way, picking up some of the colours that are in the tower itself. Quite simply done, nothing, well, the base obviously, pieces around the base were cut, and I've given the base a little double thickness there. So that's all for this week's, folks. So, Gorab Mila Mahagat. Till next week.